Week 7. And how do we get to week 7 so fast? You know, I wake up in the morning and the next thing you know, it's 2022. And I'm reminiscing with a friend of mine who has zero memory. Okay. And she's going to convince me of the summer of 1989, 2020. Okay. And she even called friends to say, okay. And she convinced them. I think they just felt bad. And there's a little sympathetic gesture going on with her memory. But I mean, I'm reminiscing today, reminiscing from the past, just like in football and everything. And I'll tell you what, right now, week 7 flew along just like it flew along from the year 1990. Welcome to week 7 of the NFL. I'm going to announce the games real fast. If you guys looked at the picks from last week, like I said, once we get past week 6, isn't it crazy how we start? They are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. I'd really like Michelle to get on the show today. We'll see if we can get her on the show today. Problem with Michelle, she can't even remember I asked her to get on the show, let alone anything else. But we'll see if we can get her on the show today and make a upset pick of the week, because we always have the upset pick of the week. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Let me just run through the games, week 7 real quick, and then we'll get going. Week 7 games. The Browns at the Ravens. The Bucks at the Panthers. Got some division games here now. The Falcons at the Bengals. Motor City. The Motor City Detroit Lions can't build a football team like they're building a Ford truck. The Lions traveled to the Cowboys. Dak Prescott back with the Cowboys. Watch what happens. We could have a major problem, NASA. The Giants at the Jags. I think that's going to be a good game. The Colts at the Titans. The Packers at Washington. How big of a deal is this for the Packers to go into Washington and win today? How big of a deal is that? The wheels could fall off today if the Packers lose this game. The wheels could fall off. The Jets at the Broncos. There's another game. Complete catastrophe over there in Denver, Mile High. Nobody ever really thought about it. Maybe that's what's wrong with their quarterback. Maybe he's a little too high. Maybe the altitude's getting to him. Wow, Rocco chimes in from the background. Those of you that have been with the show for a long time know Rocco. Back in the day, they called him Rocco the Italian Stallion. That's what they called him. Rocco, Russell Wilson's out. Yeah. Is it a real injury, or did they just go, wow, we got to save Grace so we can have a little value of him when he trades? Because if he completely deplodes here, then he's worth nothing. Settle. He's worth 0.
It's a hamstring this time.
Oh, he's got moons over my hammy. A hamstring. Johnny Dean's in the house. Johnny Dean, how's it going? Michelle, I let everybody on the show know that you were going to make the upset pick of the week today, that you will come. I told them I asked you, but I wasn't real sure if you would remember that I asked you. So, but Rocco just came in. Johnny Dean says the Jets are favored over the Broncos. And Johnny Dean, I mean, right there, when you hear that, you got it. Like I said, to me, Johnny Dean, I just mentioned you got the Packers at Washington and you got the Jets at the Broncos. I think these two games right here are so significant. But Rocco just informed me that the Broncos, Russell's out, right, Rocco, with a hamstring.
So is Carson Wentz on Washington.
And so is Carson Wentz at wow. Okay, this is big news. Those games make a big difference now. Let's keep going through the list here. The Texans are at the Raiders. The Seahawks are at the Chargers. Here's a big game right here with a huge, huge shift in what I would have done a week ago pre the trade, where you get McCaffrey now as a running back. You get Bosa back on the defense, a couple other key players on the defense back. But what a difference it makes right there. Chiefs at the 49ers. Week ago, hands down, even though it's, Kansas City on the road, a week ago, hands down. Every single time you ask me that question, I'm taking the Chiefs. Today, maybe not. We'll get into that. Maybe not. Look at this. We got Rob in the house. He says, hey, guys, I'm at work. Dropping in to say, hey, Wentz is out. I think my Packers get it together. I'm going to put this up on the board here just so you guys can read it. Rob comes in and throws out a huge statement right away. And I think some serious yelling in the locker room and hard practices this week for both the defense and offense. Both can be fixed. And the injury bug has hit us early this year. Okay. I think it's a must win for the Packers, Rob. Scott comes in and says that the Rams won't lose this week. Wow. Let me finish running through this, okay? Real quick. Oh, Johnny Dean, you made your picks before the trade? And did you have the 49ers, Johnny Dean? Did you pick the 49ers to beat Kansas City Chiefs before the trade? That's what I got to know, because I would have. But right now, today, I'll just go ahead and jump ahead. I usually don't do my picks till later. I've got the 49ers in this game. Rocco, on the other hand, has got the Chiefs. Rocco and I had two discrepancies last week, and we split the difference on our wins. Came out even. Scott says, lower the flags and unload the cannons. Oh. Johnny Dean says, no, sir. No, sir. Okay. So you got the Texans at the Raiders, the Seahawks at the Chargers, Chiefs at the 49ers, Steelers at the Dolphins, the Bears at the Patriots. Okay. Oh, you took the Chiefs by a field goal. Okay, Johnny. So we're on the same page there. I just think, and now you guys, I want to ask you guys this, and you guys let me know how you really feel about this. Rocco and I seen this trade come up. You guys know I'm on the road. Obviously, you can tell by the way my show's being produced and my background and everything. And you know where I'm at, Johnny? You tried to pump me up on the Detroit Lions. I'm in D-Town, outside of D-Town, but I'm up North Michigan. And I see you, Johnny. We see why Scott's, which just blows my mind that Scott does not pick the Rams every week this season, but it's great. I think his football IQ is starting to really shine. But yeah, the poor Lions, when you're up here, if you guys travel, you do whatever, you get into a local area of a football team, you're getting that local news. And that local news is so different than when you're getting a national feed of whatever you're getting. And then you can hear the radio station. So every day here in the morning, I'm hearing those local news, guys, local sports broadcasters talking Detroit Lions stuff. And I got to tell you, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. But anyway, Rob says he thinks San Francisco pulls on upset against the 49ers. I'm not so sure that we can call that an upset. You guys, I know we speak a lingo a little bit different. Just in the same way, I think an MVP isn't the player that's on the best team or whatever. MVP is the most valuable player. There's differences. Now, upset. I think of upsets as different. What do I think an upset is? Where everybody thinks this team that comes in is going to lose. Everybody thinks they're going to lose. And it upsets Vegas. It upsets everybody. An upset. Rocco, what would you consider like an upset? So let me just ask you this, Rocco. Chiefs are at the 49ers. If the 49ers win that game, do you consider that an upset?
No.
Exactly. Rocco says, no, I don't either. It's not an upset. Now, let me just tell you this right now. Let me tell you what is an upset, okay, right now. If the Lions played the Chiefs and won, that's an upset. If the Lions beat Dallas today, right there's an upset pick. Thank you, Rocco. If the Lions beat Dallas today, that's an upset. 49ers beating Kansas City today isn't an upset because you know right now, even Johnny before McCaffrey, even Johnny Dean before McCaffrey had it as a 3-point game. So if Johnny Dean, okay, they call him the professor for a reason. If Johnny Dean, prior to the McCaffrey trade, prior to Bosa on the defense, all that, maybe he seen that move coming and knew he'd have Bosa. But Johnny only had it as a 3-point game prior to McCaffrey going to the 49ers. That is not an upset. Sorry, Rob, to put that out there to you, but let me catch up on these comments here. Johnny, nice. Detroit moved Hutch into the outside linebacker spot, meaning they have made some changes in the defense. Watch for that. All right. You hear that, Rocco? Johnny Dean also comes up with a nice stat that says the 49ers win would not be an upset to anyone. Absolutely. Scott says McCaffrey arrived in San Francisco by ambulance. What? Scott, what are you talking about? Okay. Are you trying to tell me that you think he's soft and he's beat up, he's damaged goods? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay. All right. So, anyway, with that being said, Michelle, let me ask you, Michelle, from a distance over here, the girl with the brilliant memory, okay? The Lions are traveling today, okay? Where is that game? Okay, there it is. The Lions are going to take on the Dallas Cowboys today. Your Detroit Lions, Shelley, going to play Dallas Cowboys. They call the Dallas Cowboys America's team. Do you think that's true? They're America's team?
No.
All right. So who wins the game? The Lions are at the Cowboys.
Unfortunately, the Cowboys.
Wow. Oh my. Oh my.
Well, they're in their home team, home
She took Dallas. Now, let me just tell you guys something right here. This is what you got in Detroit. Okay? This is what you get in Detroit. They got zero faith in their football team. Zero faith. You know what an upset is in Detroit? When you bet against your team and they win. That's an upset. An upset in Detroit, in Michigan, is when you bet against your team, okay, and they win. That's an upset. Okay. Thanksgiving Bowl. Oh, yeah, Johnny Dean. We know about Thanksgiving Bowls up here in Michigan now. We know all about that. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run through these picks here. We're going to get into them. And I have a feeling we're going to have some discrepancies here because Rocco and I got 4 different picks today. And he and I are usually pretty close on our picks. But this particular week, having 4 different picks, that's kind of a lot for Rocco and I. So I think you guys are going to also disagree with me on some of these. So let's start it right off. We got the Browns at the Ravens. Man, there is so many games. Johnny Dean's with me on this. I say it a lot. Guys, they are not who we thought they were until we get past week 6. As brilliant as we think we are, as high as the football IQ that we think we have, they are not who we thought they were. Hello? But week 7, we're starting to see a little bit more of who these teams really are. That being said, the Browns are at the Ravens. You guys saw what I saw last week. You saw how the Ravens fell apart and lost that game. Now, this is a quarterback here who's looking to try to get a nice contract. But you can't be holding the football like you come out of the 7-Eleven with a 6-pack of beer. You can't just be hanging on to that thing where bad things happen. And then you can't do a huge loop like you're doing a U-turn and then just throw the ball up where there's 3 defenders there thinking something magical is going to happen. With that being said, the Ravens have to win this game today. It's at home. They're playing the Browns. The Ravens have to win this game today. I mean, I know it's still early in the season. I get it. Baltimore's at 3-3 right now, okay? If they lose today at home to a 2-4 team and are 3-4, ouch. Ouch. Johnny Dean here. Browns versus the Ravens. Huge rivalry. Essentially, the Browns versus the Browns. Ravens win. Johnny Dean has the Ravens winning. Johnny Dean, let me tell you what I think here. And I will tell you that Rocco has the Ravens winning too. Okay? The reason why I don't is because of when I watched how the Patriots ran the ball down the throat. Went right at them. The Patriots went right at that run defense of the Ravens. Okay? Now you got the Browns with their run game. What do you think this game is going to look like? Time of possession goes to the Browns. Okay? They're going to beat down that rate. This game is determined between the tackles. Okay? The Browns and Ravens game is determined between the tackles. I'm sorry. I get it. I get it. Lamar, he's elusive, but he also makes rookie-looking mistakes. He's been in the league too long now to be making some of those catastrophic mistakes. Okay? What are you going to see today? You're going to see a huge day with Chubb. Don't forget the other running back there, Hunt. Okay? You're not going to have to expect so much out of your quarterback today if that run game gets going for Cleveland. Lamar Jackson will be doing the same thing I said he would be last week. He'd have a towel on his head. I said that on the show last week. You know what Lamar Jackson's going to be doing? His head's going to be down. He's going to be having a towel over his head, holding the head low, looking at his new cleats. I got the Browns winning today, guys. The Browns win today, and it's with their run game. The Bucs are at the Panthers today. I get it. The Bucs don't look that great. But let's just look into the future. If I had my crystal ball here right now, hey, I got a crystal ball right here. Look at this. Here's the crystal ball. Let me look deep into my crystal ball. And what do I see? Well, I see, as much as everybody wants to talk about the Buccaneers and the dysfunction, Tom Brady's 45 years old and all this, the Buccaneers are going to still win the division. Let me just put this out there. If you have your favorite team going to be in the playoffs and your first matchup in the playoffs, your first matchup in the playoffs is the Buccaneers. How confident are you going to feel, regardless of a regular season record? If the Bucs go into the playoffs, which they're going to go into the playoffs, and reach a healthy point where they're healthy, how are you going to feel with your first matchup in the playoff being the Buccaneers? And are you going to ever bet against? Remember who we're talking. Remember the pedigree here. Who we're talking about. Let me catch up to some of your comments here. Johnny Dean has the Ravens winning. And then he says, if the run gets going for Cleveland, the Ravens are a run team. I got to see them stop the run. They're more a run team because of Lamar Jackson. This is a tune-up game for Tampa. I could not agree with you more, Johnny, on that. And it's good. But, again, what do you think about what I'm saying, Johnny, is that no matter what, Tampa's going to win the division. And then by Tampa winning the division, so all they really have to worry about, we've seen Tom Brady win playoff games and then take a team to a Super Bowl on the road. Well, he got the Super Bowl at home, but we've seen that happen. But I'm not worried about the Buccaneers. All the little talk that goes into this during this season, to me, and who they are, it doesn't matter just because unless injury barred, things like that. If Tampa goes into the playoffs healthy, I don't care what the regular season record is. And the fact of the matter is I don't think Vegas will care either, and I don't think you guys will care. Last team you want to see in the playoffs is the Buccaneers. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I got the Bucs beating the Panthers today. The Falcons go to the Bengals. I got the Bengals winning that game. Johnny Dean, I got to admit something. If you guys remember, I said that the Atlanta Falcons would win a maximum of 4 games this season. I did. That was me. They've already won 3. They're at 500 right now, 3-3. Johnny Dean disagreed with me. And it looks like he was a lot more in tune with those Falcons than I was. Because I was not impressed on paper. But Johnny Dean read between the lines much better than I did. They're at 500 right now, but I still have the Bengals winning at home today. Here's the game that could be the upset. The Detroit Lions travel to the Dallas Cowboys. Look, Jeffrey Todd chimes in and says the Chiefs win by 10. Now, Jeffrey Todd, you say this, but I got to ask you, Jeffrey, because I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the show. The Chiefs win by 10. Now, prior to the 49ers getting McCaffrey this week, would that have meant prior to the 49ers getting McCaffrey that you would have had the Chiefs winning by 20? Or do you think that the 49ers getting some major players back on their defense this week and adding McCaffrey to the offense, that you still got the Chiefs by 10, Jeff? Just want to clarify that. Johnny Dean has the Bengals today also, but I really picked that game with my heart, not head. There's always the emotional picks. I get you. Always. Okay, so Jeffrey did have the discrepancy there with that, and he said that he would have had the Chiefs by 21 without McCaffrey. Wow. Wow. Oh, my. Okay. Back to the Lions and Cowboys. Now, guys, listen. I know it would be outlandish. It would be ridiculous for me to pick the Detroit Lions to beat the Dallas Cowboys. But let me tell you something right now. If there's ever a team to upset a good team, the inconsistency of the Detroit Lions is like the inconsistency of the damn weather up here in Michigan. It's 70 degrees. Yesterday it was 75 degrees in Michigan. The day before yesterday, okay, Let me tell you something. Friday, I was watching a high school football game. There was a guy named G. They call him Gabe. He's the punter. He kicks off. He kicks field goals. They had him at inside linebacker. They had him playing in the secondary. He was playing split out. He was playing tight end. He was playing the slot. We sat at this football game in Michigan, couldn't feel our feet. We were shivering cold. The next day in Michigan, it was 75 degrees. The weather in Michigan is just as inconsistent as the Detroit Lions. So if I'm ever going to pick an upset, and I've done it over the 5 years of this show, I've picked the Lions on the upset picks more than any team. Why? Because they're like the weather up here. They're inconsistent. You don't know who they are. They'll shock the world. Now, what am I saying? Am I saying that this is my upset pick of the week? Detroit goes into Dallas and wins? I'd love to. I bet this game's way closer than we think it's going to be. Okay? You've had this quarterback in here running this team for Dallas, and all of a sudden he has a bad game, and miraculously, hey, Dak's thumb's ready to go. He's great. Dak's thumb was ready to go 2 weeks ago. He was on the sideline clapping his hands harder than I've ever clapped my hands. And if I got an injured thumb, I'm not going to be going, hey. We all were waiting for it. Russia's going to have a bad game. Next thing you know, the thumb's great on Dak. Here's the problem. Dak Prescott throws the ball between 40 and 50 times a game. If Dak Prescott throws the ball today 40 to 50 times like he does, we got a problem, NASA. We got a major problem in Dallas. Okay? If Dak Prescott throws the ball a maximum of 25 times today, that means they got the run game going, and I think you're going to see Dallas win the game big time. Big time. Let me catch up to your comments here on this. Johnny Dean says, last time the Chiefs faced the Niners, the Chiefs won by a field goal. Nice, Johnny. Nice. Yes, Scott. Prescott is the quarterback today. Mysteriously. Thumb all better. Kansas weather is the same 70 one day, and the next a foot of snow with tornadoes. Okay. I didn't know Kansas was that dramatic like that. The Lions have the league's top scoring offense. You wouldn't have known it last week, but you're right. So, Johnny, that being said, Johnny, are you telling me something here? All right. Are you considering that the Lions upset the new quarterback position here at Dallas with the Cinderella story is over? Oh, my God. Okay. Scott, you bring this up right now, and this is huge news, and you guys know how I feel about it, is Tua playing today. Tua was scheduled to start. If anybody can chime in and see that this has changed, because I think the NFLPA, the NFL, Tua's family, anybody who loves the guy should stop this right now. The odds in Vegas right now of Tua suffering a concussion in the game today is, and Johnny comes right in and says, flat out, yes, Tua's playing today. I want you guys to chime in with me on this. I think it's a horrible idea. I think it's horrible for the NFL. I think every parent at home right now that watches football and sees Tua come back from this concussion, get hurt today, have another concussion that could be life-threatening, okay? Their kids will not. There's been a 30% drop in youth football. Tua plays today and gets a concussion, there's going to be a 50%. I'm telling you right now, it's a horrible idea. Johnny Dean, I missed this one. 6'7", Aiden Hutchinson will get an interception and a pass block in his new position today. I think you're right on that, Johnny. Johnny, still, you're giving me little pieces here that are leading me to believe that you really, really, really are right on the cusp of calling the upset today that Detroit goes into Dallas and upsets them. I mean, I feel like you're right there to call the upset. Anyway, I think it's a horrible decision today. I do not think Tua should play. I don't think Tua should play today. You guys saw what I saw. Since Tua went out on a stretcher, I've seen much more dramatic hits. The end result of those hits wasn't a quarterback laying on the field with his feet. It wasn't that. The first helmet impact to the turf that I saw didn't seem very dramatic. The end result did. Stumbling, falling down. The second hit I seen, yes, he slinged him to the ground hard. But again, every injury I've ever seen Tua have, I never know. I'm like, what? Wait a second. He got hurt? Anyway, I do not feel good about it. I'm absolutely 100% shocked right now. Completely and 100% shocked right now that the league, that the union, that the family, that doctors, everybody. I am admitted, I've had severe concussions in my life. Severe. And the fact of the matter, I had such a severe concussion that it changed my eyesight. I had a damaged optic nerve to where my pupil would never dilate again. It was fixed because I hit my head so hard that it broke the optic nerve that actually controls the dilation of my pupil. I know what I felt like for a week, for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks. There's no way I would have put a helmet on and went and played a full contact sport. Rocco here with me, we used to play tackle in the hood, in the street. And Rocco bounced his head off of the blacktop and had a concussion as a young kid. And I guarantee you, Rocco, would you have played contact sports 2 weeks later?
Yes.
This guy's crazy. This guy's crazy.
Probably did.
And probably did. But let me catch up on your comments. Guys, Rocco, let me then ask you this. Would you expect the NFLPA, the NFL, the family of Tua, the great friends of Tua, to be pro him playing today?
It's a huge mistake.
Huge mistake, Rocco says. Huge mistake. Why?
Because he's one hit away from dying.
Now, you take that to the bank, and you might think this is overreacting. Rocco, Johnny Dean says, Rocco's world. Take that to the bank of what Rocco just said. You might think this is extreme. I happen to agree with him 100%. You know what Rocco said of why he shouldn't play today? He said he's one step away from dying. I know what you might think that's extreme, but have you ever seen that happen before? Have you ever? And I gave you guys this example here last week. You have reward up here, and you have the risk right here. Everything we do in life should come down into this table. Reward and risk. The closer those two get together, okay, that's where they are with Tua right now. They're this close to each other. The reward and the risk are right here. What's it worth to you? Let me catch up because this is a very big topic for me, and I want to make sure that you guys are in on this topic right here. Freddie Goldman, Plaza, Tua is playing today. Okay, I got you. I see you. Fred's a Dolphin fan. Fred, how do you feel about that? All right, Johnny, Let's see what Johnny says about this one. Johnny Dean says, I made my picks before the news came out, John. I had the Cowboys under 4 in this one. But if I had made that pick today, I would have been closer to 1. And that's because of the move they made on defense with Hutchinson. I got you. Scott says, Tua must have had an MRI and cleared. Look, it's not about him being cleared to play. And I will tell you this right now, guys. If Tua suffers a concussion today, it will affect the NFL for the rest of history as we know it. Okay? It will. And that's why I tell you, risk and reward. The risk and reward are not in the favor. Johnny Dean says Rocco's world. Yes. He also said, I think his family is focused on Tulia this week. Oh, they're focused on the little bro coming up. I got you. I'm going to put it out there to you guys right now, and I'm going to tell you this. The very first, when Tua had his first concussion, he came back to play on from Sunday to Thursday. I told you guys then how complete. What is the word I'm looking for? It was a bad move. I'm looking for a word there. But when he came back on Thursday, it was irresponsible. It was neglect. It was a complete letdown of what we thought the NFL was moving towards in protecting the players, not just for week in, week out in the NFL and their NFL career, their life after the NFL. And when I seen Tua stumble, lose motor skills, and fall on a field on a Sunday, come back out of the locker room, and then I see Tua play on a Thursday, I was shocked. Then to see him go out on a stretcher, okay? And now here we are. This is the third week. He missed 2 weeks, right, Rocco? Yeah. And to come back, it's mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing to me that this is not a standard concussion we saw. It's one of the most severe concussions we as football fans have ever witnessed. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. You can point out some that I'm missing here. Johnny Dean says many times, John, I've seen it. So have you I've never seen it in this fashion, in the way that somebody loses their motor skills in this way, is out on a field with their fingers in the air, out on a stretcher, and as a quarterback, and then coming back. But I guess it's been there, maybe not publicized as much. Scott says Johnny Dean won't let his dog play with the groundhog. Why? Because his dog wasn't cleared by the NFL. Ooh. Tulia suffered an injury last week to his leg that looked horrible. And I missed that one. You know why I missed it? Because I don't really watch college football much. What happened, Johnny? You know that, Rocco?
His brother?
Yeah.
No. He doesn't look that good to me anyway.
Rocco says Tulia doesn't look that good to him anyway. It's the hype. Don't believe the hype. What? All right. Anyway, let me move on with my picks here, and we'll get off the Tua thing. You guys know how I feel about it. And I'm not Nostradamus over here, but if I look into my crystal ball, I will tell you, this will not end well for Tua. It will not end well for the NFL. What will happen today will change the NFL as you know it for the rest of the time we watch it, because of the move they're making today by not stepping in, protecting the badge, right? And realizing the catastrophic effect it will have today on the future of the NFL, potential players in middle school, high school right now, the effect it'll have on them and their decision to move forward and playing a contact sports like this. You guys might think I'm going a little out of bounds here and I'm exaggerating this. But what does the NFL gain by letting the reward, by allowing Tua to play today? And what do they risk? Just the NFL. Now, as an individual, what does Tua gain to this? Yes, there's a financial gain. He can make money right now. The NFL will take care of him. He can end up in a booth. I understand he's a pretty smart kid, but he's making a stupid decision today. Hello? But as an individual, what does Tua gain versus the risk and reward? And if he thinks that he's going to risk so much for that reward, I'm sorry, but maybe he did hit his head a little too hard. Johnny Dean's got a major issue with you now, Rocco. He said what with 3 question marks, and then he put an LOL. And he said, if Rocco watched them play without Tulia, he would see why Tulia is hyped. Rocco's blinking right now, almost uncontrollably right now, and you know what that means, Johnny, when you see someone going, you know what he's thinking. Without any words being said, Johnny, you know he's going and blinking a lot. First of all, he's like, who's this Johnny Dean guy laughing at me?
Yeah, I haven't watched much of that kid, but
He said, he just admitted it, Johnny. He goes, look, I haven't watched much of that kid, but
what I've seen is ho-hum.
what he's seen is ho-hung. Now, I haven't heard that term, Johnny. The term ho-hung?
Ho-hum.
Ho-hum. What he's seen is ho-hum. Johnny, he's seen ho-hum. Average. Which, hey, you know, maybe he just plays on a bad team, Johnny, overall. Just because he's the best player on that team. But I love the disagreements. Johnny Dean's laughing. Johnny Dean appreciates the theatrics as much as we do. All right, so let me move along with these picks. Even though I flirted with the disaster of the Lions upsetting the Cowboys, I can't depend on the weather up here, and I can't depend on that football team, okay? 6-1, bro. Johnny throws out. 6-1. Okay. Lions lose to the Cowboys today. The Giants are at the Jaguars. I like what I see with the Giants. I do like the Jaguars, and that'd be another team I kind of would be a little bit fearful if I was putting money on this game. I wouldn't want to have anything to do with it if I was putting money on it, okay? But the Giants look pretty good. They go into Jacksonville today and get the win. Another discrepancy right here. This is the second of the 4 discrepancies that Rocco and I have today. He's got the Colts beating the Titans. Johnny Dean has the Giants as well. Scott, you say the Jags are favored today, but who do you take, Scott? Who do you take? Rocco has the Colts traveling today on the road to beat the Titans. I've got the Titans at home winning today. I think it's a close game. But here you go, Johnny Dean. Johnny Dean says this is my upset pick, the Titans over the Colts. Okay. I'm with you with the Titans today. Big game. Jeffrey Todd has the Titans as well. According to us, Rocco's the one with the upset here. Picking the Colts. According to us. Here's the game right here that to me is a big game for the Packers. Guys, if the Packers don't win today, we're going to have a major issue for the Packers. Okay? Packers on the road today go to Washington. Okay? Supposedly, you don't have Carson Wentz today. Johnny Dean says the Colts are favored by 3.
Jonathan Taylor effect.
Rocco chimes in and says that +3 is called the Jonathan Taylor effect. Write that down in your little notebook. The Jonathan Taylor effect. Packers beat Washington today. As dysfunctional as I think the Packers are right now, and I think it's going to get worse. I think we're going to start seeing some sideline arguments like you saw with the Cardinals. You know, you guys see that? Kyler Murray finally steps up and says, look, the Jets travel to the Broncos today on the road. The Jets get the win. We got major problems. I guess the altitude's a little too high in Denver. Major problems. Jets get the win. Jets get the win. Texans at the Raiders today. Raiders need this bad, real bad, and they're going to get it. Jeffrey Todd has the Jets winning by 10. I like that. I like it. I like it. I like it. I just realized I could put users in timeout. That's awesome. That's so cool. I can tell you guys, you know what? You need an NBA 20-second timeout here. I just realized I could do that. Well, you know what I'm going to add to the show? I'm going to do that. I'm going to have like a couple of strikes. And the strikes are going to be like if you're just way out of reach. I mean, you're out in the desert with the peyote. The desert with the peyote. If you're way out there, we're going to give you a strike. 3 strikes and that's it. You're getting a timeout. We're going to add that to the show. And you guys know I do have that graphic where I got my guy comes up and calls a timeout. We're going to add that to the show. We're going to mix a little bit of baseball in there with football and basketball. We're going to be able to call timeouts. 3-strike rule. 3 strikes and you're getting a timeout. In fact, I'm even going to come up. Maybe you guys can submit some theme music to me. You know, like the old Gong Show music or something when you get the timeout. Now Johnny Dean, Rocco, Johnny Dean's back with he's tell Rocco now. Now he's going right directly to you.
What's he want?
Tell Rocco it's the Alex Pierce, Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Pittman effect.
Well, Jonathan Taylor's back this week, so
He said, just like you put your shoulders on the corner of the wall by the door frame so you can itch it. He says it's the Jonathan Taylor back, the back effect. Jonathan Taylor back effect.
back this week.
Back this week. This week effect. Pittman's been there.
Pierce is coming along. They got some good receivers.
Pierce is coming along. Rocco says they got some good receivers. Pierce is coming along. But he's calling this week with the Colts, and the Colts win, the Jonathan Taylor effect, the one piece of the puzzle that's been missing.
Big division game.
Big division game. Big, huge. Johnny Dean, if it was just Taylor, I'll match you with Henry. Oh, my. Oh my! Are we talking chicken wings? Or what are we talking here?
Tell him I love Henry. I got him on my fantasy team, but the Colts are gonna take care of business.
Rocco says he loves Henry. He's got him on his fantasy team. However, Colts are going to take care of business today. So he is playing Henry, in a sense, but he's still. So Rocco, are you starting Henry today?
Yeah.
So he's starting Henry today in his fantasy. He's starting Henry. So he's expecting Henry to have a good game, but not enough because of what he calls the Jonathan Taylor effect. I like how I'm the mediator here right now. Well, from room to room, this is great. Scott comes on and says, John, who do you think the first person will be to put on timeout first? Scott, sometimes you flirt with disaster. It could very well be you. I don't know. Your football IQ this year caught me off guard because I picked your Rams when you did it, and you were 100%. You had no regard to the actual statistics of a game of why I would pick against your Rams in the past. You didn't care. It was Rams or nothing. Rams or go home. This year, you actually called the game and were right, and I like it a lot. Johnny Dean says, that's why I said it's my upset game today, and it's because of the Henry thing. I get you. You guys are speaking the same lingo, by the way. The same lingo. I like it. Johnny Dean, to give you a little history fact. Well, Rocco was on with me on my show on the first 2 seasons. He's up here in Michigan. But Rocco and I played Little League football together. We went to our first pro football game back in the day together. And I ain't going to tell you what year it was, but it was in the 70s. Okay? So we've been back and forth like this since the 70s when it comes to football and stuff. It's so much fun. Rams will beat the Bucks. Not to jump up into the future, but Scott says Rams will beat the Bucks when they play. Now, listen, Scott, we don't even know what your Rams and what my Bucks look like at that time. So there you go again. Right when I talked you up, there you go again. There you go again. Right when I talked you up, there you go again. Packers are at the Washington today. I got the Packers. So does Rocco. The Jets at the Broncos. I got the Jets today. So does Rocco. The Texans at the Raiders today. Both Rocco and I got the Raiders. Who has the Texans today? Does anybody think the Texans, that we just really have a catastrophe in Vegas, and the Raiders are just going from bad to worse? Johnny Dean catches right up and says he's got the Packers, the Jets, and the Raiders. You're right on cue with me and Rocco on this. I expect nothing different, Johnny. Nothing different. Seahawks at the Chargers today. I've got the Chargers winning that game. Here's the game right here. This is the third discrepancy. Rocco picked 4 different games to me today, which is high for us. We're usually max out around 2. Same thing with Johnny and I. Johnny Dean, you and I usually are within 1 or 2 games difference of each other. When you pick different from me, I know not to bet because I know, what did I miss? What did I miss? This game right here, though, the Chiefs at the Niners. The Chiefs at the Niners. Rocco's got the Chiefs at the Niners. And it's not like he just picked this game a week, like he picked it a week ago. He picked it knowing that the Niners get the defense back. He picked it knowing that the Niners picked up McCaffrey. And he still picked the Chiefs. Why? Why? Well, let's just ask the man himself, okay? Rocco,
Yep.
with all this being said, you know the Niners get 4 key pieces back to a defense. You know the Niners picked up McCaffrey. You know it's at home for the 49ers. You still pick the Chiefs.
Too much firepower.
Too much firepower. That's what Rocco says. This would be like looking at the Golden State Warriors when they would make 23 pointers in a game. Too much firepower.
That's it.
And that's it. Rocco's going to tell you right now, I get it. And Rocco said to me, look, he said to me, that we wake up in the morning to the news of McCaffrey. And he said, wow, this completely changes the outlook for the 49ers and the playoff championship run. Playoffs? Championship run. But too much firepower today coming from Kansas City, which wins the game for Kansas. And I get it. I get it. However, I'm looking at it in the exact opposite way as of 2 days ago to now. I'm looking at it like, wow, oh my, Deebo Samuel, Kettles, McCaffrey, a quarterback that can pretty much manage a game and take you deep into the playoffs, maybe even to the Super Bowl. Wow. A defense that's a little better than okay this week. Hello? So I got the 49ers. Let's see what Johnny has to say about this. All right. Johnny says, Chiefs' poor run defense is going to struggle, but their quick strike offense may keep them in it. Niners have a ton of weapons, and adding G-Mac. G-Mac? Oh, he's got it. He's got a G. Oh, C-Mac. To that will help the Niners control the clock while putting up numbers with Deebo. And Rocco said he thinks it's the opposite. What I just said about my pick is the exact opposite of Rocco on this one. And it worries me. Johnny D, when you go across the grain with me, I'm not betting that game. If Rocco goes across the grain with me, I'm not betting that game. It worries me. What am I missing here? With that being said, I think what we're talking about is the game of the week. With that being right there, we're talking about guys. Me and Rocco got combined 80 years of football here. We add Johnny Dean into that. We're well over 100 years of football. I mean, Johnny Dean's got involvement in football and stuff like this. He's got freaking Johnny Dean. I don't want to age you. You can tell us if you want. But yeah, there's well over 100 years of football between the three of us here. So when one of us, Johnny Dean, chimes in and says 55 years of football, I let you do that one. So when you really look at that right there, between me, Johnny, and Rocco, okay, I mean, we're at 135 years of football IQ over here. And
Kansas City dominates the block.
And this is what I'm saying. When Rocco comes up with this, it worries me. He didn't just say, he said Kansas City dominates the clock today. Dominates it. This, you know what that tells me? You know what it tells me? We see the best Patrick Mahomes today. The one that we were talking about a couple years ago? Yeah, that one. 3 years, whatever. Everybody already talking the Hall of Fame guy and all this Super Bowl wins. That's who Rocco says we're going to see today. He says we see the best Patrick Mahomes today. That we see. And Johnny Dean's got a question for you, Rocco. He says, with just Hilaire? Or is he talking short passing?
Methodical, down the field, clock controlling drives.
Rocco's adding to the vocabulary tremendously week in, week out lately. He comes and he says methodical. Methodical. And how did you use it?
Up and down the field, methodically, dink and dunk, control the clock.
Dink and dunk. Like, you know, right now, big deal going on up here in Michigan right now is the cider mills. The fresh hot donuts. Nothing better than, you know, like me, Rocco's not a big fan of the cider, but the hot donuts, the dink and dunk, you know, where do you think the Dunkin' Donuts came from, right? The name. Rocco says methodical dink and dunk down the field.
You have to against a team like the Niners.
And he says you have to. That's the game plan. Andy Reid has a game plan today. That game plan today is a resemblance of Dunkin' Donuts. It's the dink and dunk. Johnny says, don't forget the Niners are a top 5 defense. Rocco is the one this first thing this morning. He said, Niners got 4 key players back on defense. Still, Jeffrey Todd says Hilaire isn't even the starter. Johnny Dean comes back and says it would have to be dink and dunk short pass. That's what he means with the dink and dunk. He is meaning that and controlling the clock. Jeffrey Todd's coming in here and saying number 10 Pac-Man is the starting running back today. All right, well, with all this being said, Johnny Dean, would you agree that's the game of the week today, Chiefs and 49ers? I think it is. I've got the 49ers. Johnny Dean, I know where you're at with this. Rocco has the Chiefs. He thinks the Chiefs control the clock with a methodical dink and dunk. Moving along, I got the Steelers at the Dolphins today. I've got the Dolphins winning this. The Dolphins winning this today. Rocco has the Steelers. That's the 4th one right there. And the last one that we disagree on, which is, like I said, it's odd. 4 different games. Rocco mentioned earlier, Steelers coming off of a high, going into Miami, feeling good about themselves, going to start right where they left off last week. Rocco's got the Steelers going into South Beach. You guys know how I feel about South Beach. You go to South Beach, you got to mind your P's and Q's and get into the hotel room early. If you've been to South Beach, you know South Beach is off the chain sometimes. And these guys like to come around a little bit and strut their stuff with a little hiccup in the get-up. Sometimes they don't get a lot of sleep in South Beach. Scott comes up and Johnny says it right there. Fins up. Fins up. Scott says the Dolphins win with Tua. Guys, I got the Dolphins winning today, but not with Tua. I am really bothered by this. I hate to say this right now. I'm actually expecting right now, and it's still 12:07, for news to come out before 1 o'clock that Tua is not starting. I guess you guys could say that's wishful thinking. I don't think the NFL is this stupid. I don't think the NFLPA is doing their job. I don't think Tua's family is. I'm sorry, but I'm still expecting, even at 12:07 right now, for breaking news to come in that Tua is not starting today. If Tua does start today, guys, I hate to be the guy that says this right now. I hate to say this. Tua will not finish the game today if he starts. He won't. I feel sorry for the opposing team and anybody on the Steelers team who has to tackle and or sack Tua today. I don't even know how they're going to respond to this. I don't know. I would feel awkward. I don't know how to take this guy down. How do I take him down? Hey, can I get a pillow from the sideline, I said. I'm about ready to tackle this guy. How do you tackle him? You got a clean shot on this guy. What are you going to do? You're just going to run up to him and give him a hug and say, look, I got you there, big guy. No, put your head on my shoulder right here. I got you. It's okay. It's okay. I got you. What are we going to do? Lay him down? You guys saw what I saw. You saw the sequel. We watched the premiere. Less than 5 days. 5 days later, we got a sequel. When do you get a sequel? 5 days later. Then we watched the sequel. You know what? It looked a lot like the freaking premiere of the movie. It looked like was I in shock? I was in shock he was out there on Thursday. Was I in shock of the result? I was upset more than shock. Upset. Now today, after all the talk I've given you guys week in and week out since I've seen this, is it going to be shocking if I'm right? You go, oh my, wow, John really called that. His crystal ball, he must have been cleaning that crystal ball. Let me look deep into the crystal ball here. Wow, it must have been the Windex. Oh, it was the vinegar and water I used to look into my crystal ball, which was crystal clear. You guys aren't going to come back next week and say, John, how did you see it? We didn't see it coming. How'd you know? No. Wipe off the glasses, guys. It's crystal clear right in front of your face. My IQ isn't that high. But my common sense is, and I've learned over the years, common sense isn't very common. Oh. Now let me catch up on this. First, we'll go to Johnny seeing that the Steelers will fall to the weather in South Beach today. Oh, it's not that warm. What's the temperature? I know in Tampa yesterday, the temperature was beautiful. So I don't know what the temperature, but I think it's going to be very comfortable in South Beach. But I'm going to check it out right now real quick. It's going to be 80 degrees. 81, maybe actually, sorry, guys, 84. That's good. 84-degree weather is going to be okay. It's not going to be 90 in Miami. What's that, Rago?
8:20 game too. So it's
and it's an 8:20 game. So the weather, game time, 8:20, and near Miami, if I just scroll through this and you guys bear with me real quick, it's going to be beautiful, Johnny. It's going to be 77 degrees. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. 77 degrees. By 10 o'clock, it'll be 75 degrees. So I'm going to catch up on these comments because I just went fast forward to Johnny's and it made me laugh. Miami has no one left to start, John. Again, That doesn't mean you neglect a guy for his future, his career, the NFL, the future of the NFL, and the rules the game as we know it. Tua goes out on the stretcher today, guys, and think of this. Think about this. Not only have we destroyed a young man's future here, period, think of what it does when you go outside of that and you just think of the game. Think of that. Bridgewater is out. Skylar Thompson is questionable. Tua's the only starter, so forget about his head. Forget about his mouth. He's all we got for a game. A game. Come on, we could have called somebody up. There's somebody on the practice squad. We could have made a trade. Look at what you're doing here. The reality is you don't have Tua anyway. So what are you going to do after this week when he's gone forever? That's not good enough, Johnny. Then Johnny says, John the Wizard is throwing out curses again. I know I shouldn't. I feel bad doing that. I shouldn't doing that. Johnny Dean comes back to it and says, they aren't going to forfeit the game. You don't have to forfeit the game. You don't have to. Remember last year?
You're going to lose anyway.
Rocco said you're going to lose anyway. Plus, isn't Miami famous for running the Wildcat? Isn't that what really it was? Really, isn't it the Miami Dolphins that made everybody else in the league start using that Wildcat? I watched a team last year play without a quarterback. Do you guys remember that? You remember what game that was and what team? I watched last year a football. Yes, I watched that. They've had plenty of time here. They've had plenty of time to make this happen. And it's not a good enough excuse to destroy somebody. 20 years ago. That was 20 years ago, John.
There's no place in the game for people to be throwing up gang signs.
Ooh. Rocco said there's no place. Oh, shit. This is great take. Rocco says there's no place in the game for players to be throwing up gang signs. And if you don't know what that meant, he meant Tua was on the field like this. And I know that was the best take right there from Rocco all day today. You know I'm a funny guy with a sense of humor. But Rocco just came right out and said it. There's no place in the game today, the NFL, for players to be throwing out gang signs. And that's what Tua was doing a couple weeks ago on the field. He was throwing out gang signs. Take that one there. This should chime you guys up. Johnny says the Wildcat 20 years ago. Johnny Dean, who really highlighted that Wildcat? Who really highlighted that Wildcat for like a season? It took everybody a little bit of time to catch up to that season. Johnny Dean comes back and says, or eating W's. Yeah, the old eating the W there. You're right, Johnny. All right, so we all are a little bit twisted in our sense of humor here. All right, the final pick for the Monday Night Football. The Bears travel to the Patriots. I don't see the Bears getting it done. Monday Night Football, Patriots get the win. And then Johnny says, ship high in transit, SHIT. I can't remember that guy's name, John. But I do remember where we saw that season where that Wildcat came into play, and it was more the fact of a quarterback problem. They went with the Wildcat. I can't remember. Anyway, Johnny Dean's got the Patriots. Jeffrey Todd's got the Patriots. Rocco's got the Patriots. I'm going to run through my games right now. I'll tell you the 4 games of the discrepancy of Rocco and I here today. We came out even last week. Here we go. Hang on tight. Let's run through these games and then get our nachos and jalapenos. Today, Rocco and I got some lime nachos with 3 different dips to go with that football time. We're going to got some chicken marinated in the refrigerator right now that's going on the grill. Beautiful day in Michigan today. Completely inconsistent, just like the Detroit Lions. It's going to be 70-something degrees today. I got to flip to that real quick and see. It's going to be what? Here we are. Right now, it's a beautiful 66. Going to be 72 today. Just outside of Detroit, D-Town, the Motor City. All right. Johnny Dean says, I know he was in the league about 5 years ago in a couple of teams. Must have been Philadelphia and Carson Wentz. No. It was not Philadelphia. It was not Carson Wentz.
Pretty much the Panthers of today.
Pretty much the Panthers of today, yes. But that Wildcat, I swore it was in Miami. I really do. I swear it was the Miami Dolphins, and they were running that Wildcat, and everybody had to catch up to what they were doing at that time. And I will figure it out, guys. I will figure it out later and let you know. Talk about that next week. All right. Here we go. Let's run through this Week 7 NFL. Browns at the Ravens today. I've got the Browns. Rocco took the Ravens. The Buccaneers at the Panthers. I got the Buccaneers. I'm not so sure who takes the Panthers, but it ain't Rocco and I. Falcons at the Bengals. Bengals at home. Get the win. Right down the board, Rocco and I. I know, Johnny Dean, you're following right along here. He lasted about 5 years. Yes, it was in Miami. I don't even know, Johnny. You're going to have to spill the beans on this. I feel like you know, Johnny, and you're just waiting to see if we can get it. I feel like you know, Johnny. Scott takes the Panthers. Lions at the Cowboys today. I think we all got the Cowboys. The Giants at the Jags today. I think we all got the Giants. Colts at the Titans. The discrepancy right here. Rocco, we talked about this game, Johnny. Johnny's got the Titans with me. Rocco takes the Colts today, and he called it the Taylor effect. Packers at the Washingtons today. Packers. We all got the Packers. I tell you right now, if the Packers don't win today, we got major problems, NASA. Major problems. Jets at the Broncos today. We all took the Jets. Texans at the Raiders today. We got the Raiders. Wait a second. I don't know Johnny on that one. Rocco and I got the Raiders. Seahawks at the Chargers today. Rocco and I got the Chargers. Here's the third discrepancy today on the home front in Michigan. Chiefs at the 49ers. Long discussion about this game. I think the game of the week and a huge tell factor to the end of the season for these teams. Chiefs at the 49ers. I got the 49ers. Johnny Dean's got the 49ers. Rocco takes the Chiefs today. And what he thinks is a long dink and dunk drives throughout the game that puts the Chiefs on the top. Steelers are at the Dolphins today. I take the Dolphins with the win today without Tua. Rocco has the Steelers winning that game today. Maybe he thinks it's for the same reason, but he's got the Steelers winning. And to finish it off, Monday Night Football, the Bears travel to New England to take on the Patriots. The Patriots get the win. And then we all agree across the board on that one. There you go, guys. Week 7. I'm going to give 60 seconds here to come up with something brilliant. And then I'm out of here. Week 7, guys, the season's a little more telling to us than it was, obviously, a couple weeks ago. Johnny Dean chimes in. John, I took the Chiefs, unfortunately, says I would have taken the Niners if I had picked after that CMC news. Okay, and that's what I thought and what I want to know, and I questioned it. Rocco took the Chiefs after the news. After the news. Rocco knows. Rocco knew how much better the Niners defense was going to be today than it has been in the last couple of weeks. He knew. He knew Christian McCaffrey was going to the 49ers. He also knows how dynamic that team just got. He sees them deep into the playoffs. He does. But he doesn't see them good enough to beat the Chiefs today. Way too much firepower. To quote Rocco exact, way too much firepower. There you have it. We shall see. Makes it a lot more fun to watch these games today, doesn't it? Guys, enjoy week 7 of the NFL. Get an appetizer going today, guys. Get yourself an appetizer going today. Okay? I hope you're having beautiful weather like we are today. Enjoy week 7 Sunday football. That does it. Johnny Dean, your last chime. Here it is. Even if CMC were just a decoy today, it's enough for me to go with the Niners over the home field. And, I mean, looking forward for the Niners, just you saying that, Johnny, looking forward for the Niners, that has to be one of the best football moves I've seen in a while. In-season football move that I've seen in a while, and it's shocking. Mike, how you doing? Like a baseball player, I'm in a nasty streak. Hopefully, I turn it around. Currently, I'm 44-50-1. The 1 is what gets me, Mike. That 1 is what gets me right there. Here are my remaining picks. Bengals, Cowboys, Colts. Right there, we're right down the board, except you've got the Colts there. I got the Titans. Packers, Buccaneers, Giants, Ravens. You've got the Ravens. I do not have the Ravens. I've got the Browns beating them with a run game today. Jets, Raiders, Chargers, Chiefs. I do not have the Chiefs, Mike. I got the Niners. You got the Steelers, Mike. I got the Dolphins. Then you got the Patriots. Johnny Dean is a 54-41. Guys, and at the beginning of the season, like we always say, you got to wait till after week 6. You know, things turn around. But, Johnny, that's pretty damn good considering we're going into week 7. I'm looking at now these numbers to change for all of us, guys, you know, and to where we have a max 4-loss week. I look at it like that, guys. If you make your picks and you're 4-loss or under per week, I think you're doing pretty good. I really do think you're doing pretty good. You start getting over 4 losses a week, start scratching your head. If you get less than 4 losses a week, you're kicking some butt, I think. I think you're doing pretty good. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it. I hear some good football music in the background, some theme music. I'm ready to go. That puts us at 12:25. Gives you a little bit of time to get some appetizers going. Get them going, guy. Enjoy week 7. See you next time.